What if you had to repopulate the planet? Imagine for a moment what it would be like to wake up one morning and realize you are among the final few human beings left on Earth. The cities that once pulsed with millions lie eerily silent, nature already beginning to reclaim the empty roads and abandoned houses. There is fresh grass growing in the cracks of parking lots, birds nesting where people once shopped, and a powerful silence in the air. The world hasn't ended, not with fire or flood, but humanity has been pared down to just a small handful, perhaps a dozen or two souls scattered across continents. Your heart pounds, your mind whirs with questions, with fear, with a determination that pulses stronger than ever. The future of human life is in your hands. The fate of our species now hinges on a fundamental, ancient challenge: how to repopulate the planet and how to build a society from only a tiny, fragile seed. The enormity of the situation dawns on you. It isn't just about survival, though that itself is daunting. It's about recreating civilization, culture, and the very essence of what it means to be human. Picture the first mornings, months, and years. What would you do, and what would the world become? Let's begin at the beginning. The science of survival. In this world, with so few people left, every step matters. Humans are resourceful, creative, and resilient, but so many modern comforts rely on complex systems: power grids, water plants, farming machinery, and global supply chains. Without enough people to maintain them, those systems begin to fail almost immediately. The immediate challenge is finding clean water, fresh food, and safe shelter. Perhaps you and others discover each other, connecting through luck and tenacity, or using the remnants of communication technology. The first order of business: drawing up a plan to survive now and to build toward the future. The question is no longer just how will we live, but how will we ensure that there are more of us? To repopulate the planet, you must think generations ahead. From the outset, biology sets clear rules. To restore a robust human population, genetic diversity is essential. If your survivor group is too small, the risk of inbreeding rises, threatening the health and survival of generations to come. Ideally, genetic studies suggest a population of at least several hundred is needed to safely withstand the ravages of inherited disease and ensure resilience. But let's say, for the sake of the scenario, you have only a few dozen, or perhaps you are among as few as 10. It will be tricky, but not impossible. You and your fellow survivors must work together, carefully planning relationships and offspring to maximize genetic mix and minimize risks. This would involve a calculated approach to partnerships, tracking family lines, possibly maintaining records of parentage, and perhaps some degree of polygamy, polyandry, or rotating relationships designed to spread genes as widely as possible among the group. These arrangements may feel awkward at first, perhaps even uncomfortable, but you all understand the stakes. Old social conventions must bend to biology if the human race is to continue. Such a scenario raises immediate and profound ethical, emotional, and psychological questions. How do people feel about forming families in this way? How does love, attraction, and partnership endure when it also becomes, quite literally, a matter of species survival? These are not just scientific questions. They are emotional, deeply human dilemmas. Perhaps new bonds would form, guided by compassion as much as necessity. Perhaps old concepts of family might expand, encompassing a shared mission and sense of kinship that rises above individual jealousies or preferences. Beyond reproduction, you must decide how to care for the very first children of a new humanity. Each child becomes the future, precious, vital, a beacon of hope and a heavy responsibility. The group pools resources and devises ways to share childcare, protect mothers, and train the next generation in the vital skills of survival. Finding clean water, scavenging tools, recognizing edible plants, and repairing basic shelters. Education, too, takes on new urgency. The wisdom of the group, what you remember of history, science, technology, and the arts, must be passed along, for there is no guarantee the old books, internet archives, or computers will last forever. Your group may create oral traditions, teach songs and stories, and perhaps, over time, begin to reconstruct the achievements of civilization. The path to a restored population would be slow and fraught with setbacks. In the best-case scenario, a single pair can produce 10 to 15 children during their reproductive years. In the early years, infant mortality would be a harsh reality without modern medicine, clean facilities, or trained doctors. Injuries, infections, or childbirth complications would pose tragic risks. Thus, repopulation isn't just a matter of will, it's a game of numbers, a race against time, and a gamble with fate. Yet, humans have been here before. In the distant past, scientists believe the population of our ancestors dropped perilously low, perhaps to as little as a few thousand individuals during the harsh ice ages. Our species survived then through cooperation, adaptability, and perhaps a bit of luck. These ancient population bottlenecks are written into our DNA, the evidence that, somehow, a small group can give rise to the diversity and richness of humanity we know today. You and your companions must become experts in every facet of existence, drawing upon whatever knowledge survived the collapse of society. You learn to make fire without lighters, to purify water without electric pumps, to grow food without supermarkets. Each experiment is a lesson, each mistake a warning, and each triumph a reason to celebrate. As the months pass, and then the years, your group transforms. Babies are born and grow into children, bringing laughter and joy back to the world. You begin planning for the future more optimistically. The oldest members impart what they know, becoming teachers, while the young experiment, innovate, and learn. In time, your group may split, sending small parties out to explore, settle, and eventually reconnect across continents. You must also face the philosophical challenges. What kind of society will you choose to build? With memories of the world you lost, do you repeat its structures? Democracy or monarchy, or something entirely new? With fewer people, perhaps government is more direct, more personal. Leadership is based on skill, wisdom, and service, rather than charisma or power. The broken world is a blank slate, inviting you to reimagine fairness, justice, equality. With new beginnings comes new opportunity and new risk. The first alliances and disagreements shape your nascent community. How will you resolve disputes? What rules will you agree upon to ensure peace and productivity? Perhaps you insist that everyone must do their share, or perhaps you experiment with communal living, sharing everything equally. Traditions soon form, a shared meal, a nightly fire, songs to honor those lost, and celebrations to cherish new life. As the years pass, the landscape changes around you. With fewer people, wildlife rebounds. Deer graze in city parks, wolves and foxes range over the once bustling highways, flocks of birds fill the skies. Nature's resilience astounds you. It swallows up crumbling buildings, and vines crawl over the once gleaming towers. You learn to live with the wild, respecting the animals and plants with whom you now share the world. Slowly, oh, so slowly, the population begins to grow. The children of the first generation become parents in their own right. The group now numbers in the dozens, then scores, sprawled across villages, connected by trails instead of busy highways. Each birth is celebrated with tears of joy, each new face a miracle. The very process of repopulation forces you all to confront questions of identity. What will it mean for future generations to be human? Without the distractions of technology, the endless swirl of global commerce, the constant thrum of modern life, perhaps new values emerge. Community, empathy, resourcefulness, these become the cornerstones of your society. And yet, even in this new world, stories provide comfort. You tell tales of the time before, the great cities, the inventions, the wonders of science and music and space travel. You teach the children that they are descendants of survivors, inheritors of hope, custodians of the future. The myth of the old world grows in the retelling, a blend of memory and dream. As the decades tick by, your initial group of survivors have become the ancestors of a small nation. Slowly, the fragile recovery becomes transformation. New settlements arise, built on the ruins of the old, and shaped by the needs and dreams of a new people. Hard-won lessons are remembered. Conserve resources, cherish relationships, respect the planet. With luck and careful planning, new technologies are rediscovered. Someone remembers how to make soap, another how to forge metal with a makeshift furnace, another still how to stitch simple clothes from animal hides and scavenged cloth. Your society becomes a patchwork of utilitarian innovation and ancient skill, a blend of invention and tradition. As the community thrives, larger questions emerge. With enough people, you again confront the challenges of leadership, organization, and the balance between individuality and the common good. Do you teach the children about the old mistakes, the wars and injustices? Or do you focus on what you've gained? A slower pace, a deeper intimacy with the world, a fuller sense of purpose. Inevitably, the problem of memory intrudes. With each passing generation, stories of the old world fade, transformed by forgetfulness and imagination. The internet is gone. Printed books decay. Much knowledge slips away. Perhaps the children of the future see the remnants of the old world, tall, silent buildings haunted by memories, as the stuff of legend, something half real and half fantasy. Still, curiosity drives you. Curiosity fuels your children and grandchildren, as it did the very first humans. Perhaps your descendants will rediscover lost knowledge, reinvent science, and build new technologies suited to their world. Maybe they chart a different course, prioritizing relationships with the Earth, or each other, above technological progress. Meanwhile, your dreaming grows bolder. As the population climbs above a few hundred, then 1,000, human society becomes less fragile and more inventive. No longer preoccupied by survival alone, you begin to ask, what will we create? Art, music, and games find their place again. Love flourishes, friendships deepen, and the group remembers how to play as well as to labor. This new society, born of necessity and hardship, may avoid some mistakes of the past. Your descendants may value cooperation over competition, stewardship rather than exploitation. Or perhaps, inevitably, some old conflicts resurface, arguments over scarce resources, jealousy, ambition. For human nature is both shadow and light. From these earliest days right up to the present, the question of repopulation is one of balance. Between the needs of the group and the rights of the individual, between memory and innovation, hardship and hope. There will be heartbreak, lives lost to disease, accident, or disaster. There will be times of despair when the odds seem insurmountable, but there will also be triumph and laughter, the smallest victories, growing a new crop, delivering a healthy baby, building a sturdy house, become causes for celebration. In time, as decades blur into centuries, the world would begin once again to echo with the voices of children, the clamor of success, the hum of industry. Human ingenuity, kindled by adversity, would find new ways forward. Roads would be cleared, bridges rebuilt, songs sung anew. The planet, in turn, would grow and change with you. Freed from relentless human exploitation, ecosystems would recover, forests would spread, rivers would cleanse themselves, animals would proliferate. Perhaps, out of respect for what was lost, your society would maintain a careful balance, always remembering that this time, the cost of recklessness is extinction itself. In this brave new world, you and your companions would be more than survivors. You would be the architects of a renewed humanity, entrusted with an unprecedented second chance. The choices you make, the lessons you teach, the values you uphold, the kindness you extend, become the foundation of everything that follows. In every newborn child, in every close-knit community, in every simple act of kindness, you plant the seeds of a world reborn. So, if you had to repopulate the planet, it would mean more than just having children. It would mean creating the habits, the homes, the rituals, and the relationships that nurture life, generation after generation. It would mean declining the easy path of despair for the long, hard march of hope. It would mean honoring the wisdom of the past while praying for the courage and creativity to build an even better future. The story of repopulating the world is not just about numbers or biology. It is a story of resilience, vision, and the undying human instinct to endure, create, and thrive. What you build, out of ashes, out of memory, out of hope, becomes the first chapter in a new saga, the opening lines of a story that, with luck and persistence, will echo across the centuries, long after you are gone. And maybe, just maybe, that story, your story, becomes the foundation for a humanity wiser, kinder, and more attuned to the planet and each other. Because in the end, to repopulate the world is to do what humans have always done, to keep moving forward, never certain, always hopeful, and always together.